Have you ever pondered the ultimate nature of truth? Or what it truly takes to find profound understanding? What if the answers weren't quite where you expected them?
And what if that journey towards deep wisdom was, well, more rigorous, but also more balanced than, conventional ideas might suggest?
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on a really fascinating journey into an ancient dialogue, the Bodhirājakumārasuttaṃ.
That's right. This deep dive is all about exploring one of history's most significant spiritual quests, the path to awakening taken by the Buddha himself. We're hoping to extract some surprising insights that, well, they still feel incredibly relevant today.
You'll discover why a prince's simple question led to such a deep revelation about suffering and attainment.
And the unexpected turns in this seeker's incredibly rigorous journey, the profound wisdom of letting go of extremes.
And really what it truly takes to achieve that kind of transformative understanding. So let's begin.
Okay, our story opens in a remarkably peaceful setting. It's the Basakavana Migada.
And that's where Bhagava, the Awakened One, is residing at the time.
Exactly. And meanwhile, Prince Bodhi, a young royal, has just finished building his magnificent new palace, Kokanuda.
Which, interestingly, hasn't been, consecrated or visited by any holy person yet. It's untouched.
So Prince Bodhi sends his attendant, Sanjikaputta, with a formal invitation for Bhagava and the Bhikkhu Sangha, that's the community of monks, to come and dine at his new palace.
Seems like a pretty simple request on the surface, right?
Okay.
But it really sets the stage for a truly pivotal conversation.
It does, and one detail that really stands out is the immense reverence Prince Bodhi shows. The next day, he doesn't just invite them.
He prepares the palace by covering the stairs, the actual steps, with pristine white cloths.
Yeah.
Very top down to the last step.
Yes, all for Bhagava to walk upon. And he keeps urging him, please ascend the stairs.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Bhagava, rather surprisingly, just remains silent. He doesn't move.
It's actually Ananda, his close attendant, who steps in. He tells the prince, remove the cloths.
And the reason?
Ananda says, Bhagava will not step on cloth because he looks to the future generation.
Wow. That's a powerful and subtle teaching right there, isn't it?
Absolutely. It immediately highlights a leader setting a precedent, not just with words, but through their actions, even something as seemingly small as how they climb stairs.
It connects to that broader philosophy, the impact of conduct on those who follow. Okay, so after the meal, things get philosophical.
They do. Prince Bodhi makes this definitive statement to Bhagava. It is not by pleasure that pleasure is attained. It is by suffering that pleasure is attained.
Which really begs a fundamental question, doesn't it? Is suffering truly the only path to liberation?
And Bhagava, responding to this, shares his own incredible journey. He reveals that he actually once held that exact same belief before his enlightenment.
Really? You thought suffering was the only way too?
He did. He recounts leaving home as a young man, the text says black-haired, endowed with the fortune of youth, in the prime of life.
Against the wishes of his parents, who were apparently weeping.
Yes, leaving all that behind to seek what he called the supreme state of peace.
So he embarked on this quest for knowledge, right? Seeking out teachers.
Two prominent spiritual teachers of that era. First, Era Kalama.
Okay. And what happened there?
Well, Bhagava, or Gautama as he was then, quickly mastered his teachings. He attained what's described as the dimension of nothingness.
Which sounds like a very high state of meditative absorption.
Extremely high. Ara Kalama was so impressed he considered Gautama his equal, even invited him to lead the community together.
Wow. But he didn't stay.
No. And here's the crucial insight. Despite reaching this incredibly high level, Gautama realized this teaching. It does not lead to dispassion, detachment, cessation, tranquility, higher knowledge, enlightenment, nor nibbana.
Nibbana being that ultimate liberation from suffering, the end of rebirth.
Exactly. So he found this attainment, profound as it was, insufficient. And he moved on.
So who was next?
Next, he sought out Udakaramaputa. And again, the same pattern. Gautama swiftly mastered this teaching.
Reaching an even more refined state.
Yes, the dimension of neither perception nor non-perception, even subtler. And Udakaramaputa, just like the first teacher, recognized his unique ability, offered him leadership.
But once more, he found it lacking.
Once more, yes. He determined this path also didn't lead to the ultimate goal, to nibbana.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it? Even these profound spiritual states weren't the final answer if they didn't bring complete freedom.
It really highlights his unwavering commitment to finding that true ultimate release. Nothing less would do.
So having kind of exhausted these, let's say, intellectual and deep meditative paths taught by others, what did he do?
He turned to an even more rigorous approach, extreme asceticism, self-mortification.
Right, and he sought out a specific kind of place for this.
Yes, a place conducive to this intense striving. The text describes a charming stretch of land, a lovely woodland grove, and a flowing river with clear, cool water.
Sounds idyllic, ironically, for such a harsh practice.
Indeed. And during this period, these three powerful analogies arose in his mind, analogies unheard before.
Okay, what were they?
Well, think about trying to start a fire. The first analogy is like trying to use a wet piece of wood, sappy, lying in water. Can you make fire?
No, of course not. Impossible.
Right. He said this represents people living immersed in sensual pleasures, their craving's still strong. They can't ignite higher knowledge no matter how much they might suffer through ascetic practices elsewhere.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the second one?
The second is a wet piece of wood, sappy, but lying on dry land, far from water. Can you make fire then?
Still, no, I wouldn't think so. Still wet and sappy inside.
Exactly. This represents those who've physically withdrawn from sensual pleasures, but their inner craving, that sappiness, is still not abandoned. They also cannot attain higher knowledge.
Ah, I see. So the physical separation isn't enough.
Precisely. But then comes the third analogy, the real aha moment. A dry piece of wood, seasoned, lying on dry land, far from water. Can you make fire from that?
Yes, absolutely. That's how you do it.
Right. This illustrates that only when one has both withdrawn physically from sensual pleasures and completely abandoned the inner craving for them, only then can true higher knowledge and liberation be attained.
That's a profound realization. Detachment of mind is just as crucial, maybe more so than just physical separation.
It shifted his whole approach. But before fully embracing this middle way, he first describes pushing his body to the absolute brink through self-mortification. It's quite graphic.
I remember reading this part. It's intense. Clenching teeth, pressing his tongue.
Yes, until sweat poured from his armpits, holding his breath until this loud, violent noise, like a blacksmith's bellows, came from his ears.
And it gets worse, doesn't it?
Oh, much worse. He describes stopping breath from his mouth, nose, and ears, causing violent winds to pierce his head. The text says, as if a strong man were to cleave one's head with a sharp sword.
Unbelievable pain. And severe headaches, too.
Yes, feeling as if a strong leather strap were tightening around his head. He was truly testing that belief that suffering was the path.
And the stomach pains he described.
Violent winds cutting through his belly, as if a skillful butcher were to cut an ox's belly with a sharp butcher's knife.
And his body burning.
Like being held over a pit of glowing coals by two strong men. The descriptions are incredibly visceral.
It's just, wow. And apparently even divine beings were watching him.
Yes, the devas. Some thought he was dead, others dying. Interestingly, some even recognized his elevated state, apparently saying, the recluse Gautama is an arahant.
An arahant being someone fully enlightened.
Right. And this is the dwelling place of an arahant. But the physical toll was immense. He tried stopping food altogether.
But he refused help, didn't he? Divine help.
He did. Devas offered to infuse nourishment through his pores, but he refused, thinking it would be deceitful.
So instead, he ate just minuscule amounts.
Tiny amounts, just a handful of bean soup each time, and the result was extreme emaciation.
The descriptions are harrowing. Limbs like withered stalks.
Like withered joint stalks, yes. His buttocks like a camel's hoof. His spine protruded like a string of knots.
Ribs sticking out like the rafters of a crumbling old house.
His eyes sunk deep in their sockets, like stars seen deep in a well. His scalp shriveled, like a bitter gourd cut raw and left to shrivel in the sun and wind.
He couldn't even stand properly.
He describes touching his belly and only feeling his backbone, falling over when trying to relieve himself, his hair falling out just from rubbing his body.
Even his skin color changed. People debated if he was dark or brownish or mottled.
Yeah, but despite all this almost superhuman endurance, he came to a crucial realization.
What was that?
That the severe self-mortification did not lead to any superhuman states, to the knowledge and vision of the noble ones.
So all that extreme suffering, it wasn't the answer either.
Exactly. And this realization was the turning point. It prompted the question, might there be another path to awakening?
That's a critical lesson, isn't it? Just sheer effort isn't enough. It needs the right direction.
Precisely. And that question sparked a memory, something from his childhood.
Ah, the rose apple tree incident.
That's the one. He reclined sitting under a rose apple tree while his father was performing some Sakyan duties. And there, naturally, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unskillful qualities, he had spontaneously entered the first jhana.
Jhana being a state of deep meditative absorption.
Yes, characterized by rapture and pleasure born of detachment, not from sensual input, but from seclusion itself. And he wondered, might this be the path to awakening?
And his own mind confirmed it.
His consciousness affirmed, this is the path to awakening.
So that was the crucial shift, back towards a more balanced meditative state.
But he realized he couldn't possibly attain that state, that jhana, with such an extremely emaciated body. He was too weak.
So he made a decision.
He decided to eat coarse food, rice, and gruel, specifically to regain his physical strength.
Which must have seemed like a huge step back to his companions.
It absolutely did. His 5 ascetic companions, who had been attending him so diligently through his austerities, they abandoned him.
They thought he'd given up.
They thought, the recluse Gautama has reverted to luxury. He has given up his striving. But, ironically, this was the actual beginning of his true path to awakening.
Shows how easily perceptions can mislead. So, with renewed strength, what did he do?
He systematically entered and mastered the 4 jhanas. These are progressively deeper states of meditative absorption, concentration, and mental clarity.
And with his mind in that state, concentrated, purified, and bright, as the text says.
He then directed it to gain what would become the 3 knowledges, the profound insights that constitute his enlightenment.
Okay, what are those?
In the first watch of the night, with his mind sharpened by jhana, he gained the recollection of past lives. He saw countless former existences in detail.
Ignorance was dispelled, knowledge arose.
Darkness was dispelled, light arose. It was direct knowing of his own journey through samsara.
Then, in the middle watch of the night,
he gained the divine eye. This enabled him to see all beings passing away and being reborn according to their karma. He saw the whole cycle of rebirth playing out.
understanding the karmic workings for everyone.
Yes. And finally, in the last watch of the night, came the ultimate breakthrough. The destruction of defilements.
This was the big one.
This was everything. He understood suffering, what it is, its origin, its cessation, and the path leading to its cessation. The 4 noble truths, essentially.
And he understood the defilements themselves.
Sensual desire, the desire for existence, ignorance, and the path to their complete cessation. His mind was liberated.
He knew it was over.
He knew. The text says, he declared, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, there's no more for this state of being.
That was it. Nibbana.
That was Nibbana.
Credible. But then, after this profound awakening, there was hesitation.
Surprisingly, yes. A dilemma arose. Bhagavad felt this Dhamma, his teaching, was deep, hard to see, hard to understand, peaceful, excellent.
Beyond the scope of logic, subtle to be experienced by the wise.
Exactly. And he thought, this generation delights in attachment, is excited by attachment. They'd find it too hard to grasp things like conditioned origination or Nibbana itself.
He actually thought teaching would be troublesome.
He did. He thought, if I were to teach the Dhamma, others would not understand me, and that would be wearisome for me. That would be troublesome for me.
Wow. He even had verses come to him about this.
Spontaneous poetic verses reflecting this hesitation. What I have gained with great difficulty enough now to proclaim it, this Dhamma is not easily understood by those deluded by lust and hate.
Those attached to lust will not see it, veiled as they are by darkness. His mind was actually leaning toward silence.
It was. But this wasn't to be. A powerful divine being, Brahmā Sahampati, somehow knew his thoughts.
And appeared before him.
Yes, concerned that the world would perish if Bhagavad didn't teach, he bowed and implored him.
Saying there were beings with little dust in their eyes who were wasting away.
Precisely. There will be those who will understand, he urged.
Brahma even recited verses.
Powerful verses, urging him to open the door to the deathless's meaning Nibbana, and arise, hero, victor in battle, caravan leader, debt-free, wander in the world.
So, moved by this plea, and out of compassion,
Bhagavad surveyed the world with his Buddha eye. He saw beings with varying levels of this dust in their eyes.
some ready to learn, some not so much.
Some with keen faculties, some dull, some easy to instruct, some difficult, and some who were already living with a fear of wrongdoing.
And he saw them like lotuses.
Yes, like lotuses in a pond. Some still deep underwater, unable to blossom, some just reaching the surface, and some already risen above the water, untouched by it.
Ah, so that confirmed it for him. There were people ready to understand.
It did. He then responded to Brahma, affirming, "The doors to the deathless are open for those who hear."
Okay, so he's decided to teach. Now, who first?
His first thoughts went to his former teachers, Ara Kalama and Udaka Ramaputta. He thought they'd understand quickly.
But they'd already passed away.
Yes, devas, celestial beings, informed him they were gone. A missed opportunity, in a way.
So then he thought of.
The 5 bhikkhus, his former companions in asceticism. He saw with his divine eye that they were residing in Isipatana, Megadaya, near modern Varanasi.
And he decided to seek them out.
Yes. And on the way, there's this fascinating encounter.
With Upaka the Ajivaka?
That's him, a naked ascetic. Upaka sees Bhagava, notices his clear senses, his radiant complexion, and asks him, "Who is your teacher?"
And Bhagava's response is, quite something.
It's this bold, unequivocal declaration of his own enlightenment. He refers to himself as the Tathagata, one who has thus come or gone.
He says, I am the all-subduer, the all-knower. I have no teacher.
I am the arahant in the world. I am the only fully awakened one, cooled, extinguished.
I go to Kasanapura to set the wheel of Dhamma in motion.
Yeah.
I shall beat the drum of the deathless in this world, veiled by darkness.
Quite a statement.
How did Upaka react?
With, well, skepticism. He says something like, "So it is, friend Gautama, you profess to be an arahant, an infinite conqueror." Then he just shakes his head, sticks out his tongue, and walks off down a different path.
It really highlights how radical, how unbelievable this claim must have sounded back then.
Especially from someone they perhaps last saw practicing extreme asceticism, who now looked healthy and radiant.
So he finally reaches the 5 bhikkhus. How did that reunion go?
Well, initially, they saw him coming and agreed amongst themselves, basically, let's ignore him. He gave up the struggle, reverted to luxury.
But they couldn't stick to it.
No. As he approached, something about his presence made them unable to keep their resolution. They instinctively rose, took his bowl and robe, offered him a seat, water for his feet.
But they still addressed him informally. As friend Gautama?
They did. And Bhagav firmly corrected them, do not address the Tathagata as friend, for the Tathagata is an arahant, a fully awakened one.
He urged them to listen, told them the deathless had been attained.
And that he would teach them the Dhamma. But they were still skeptical.
They brought up the old criticism again. You didn't attain it through harsh practices. How could you attain it now by reverting to indulgence?
They repeated that twice. But Bhagava, with unwavering conviction, just repeated his claim. Listen, the deathless has been attained.
What finally convinced them?
On the 3rd time, he asked them directly, "Bhikkhus, have I ever spoken to you in this way before?" And they had to admit, no, he hadn't.
That broke through their skepticism.
It seems so. It opened their minds enough to listen.
And he eventually convinced them.
He did. He even devised a practical system for teaching them while ensuring they all got food teaching too, while 3 went for alms, then alternating.
Clever. And the result?
The text says, instructed and guided in this way, the 5 bhikkhus, before long, attained the supreme goal of the holy life in this very life. They became arahants too.
Amazing. So Prince Bodhi, listening to this whole incredible story, is deeply moved.
Understandably.
And he asks a question that's really crucial for you, the listener, for any seeker.
Mm-hmm.
How long would it take a bhikkhu, with the Tathagata as a guide, to attain that ultimate holy life?
It's the practical question, isn't it? And Bhagava responds with this really relatable analogy, using Prince Bodhi's expertise, the art of elephant riding.
Okay, how does that work?
He asks the prince, imagine someone wants to learn elephant riding from you, but they are faithless, sickly, deceitful, lazy, and foolish. Would they learn?
Prince Bodhi says no.
Yeah.
Right? Not even with one of those faults, let alone all 5.
Exactly. But then Bhagava flips it. What if the student is faithful, healthy, honest, energetic, and wise? Would they learn?
And the prince says yes, absolutely. Even with just one of those positive qualities, they'd likely succeed.
Right. And this leads directly to the 5 factors of striving the Panyika Padanigani that makes swift attainment possible.
These sound important. What are they?
Okay, number 1 is faith. A firm belief in the Buddha's enlightenment and his qualities as a teacher. Trust in the path.
Makes sense. What's second?
Good health. Being reasonably free from illness, having a balanced constitution suitable for sustained practice. You need physical and mental stamina.
Okay. Third?
Honesty and non-deceit. Being sincere, open about oneself to the teacher and fellow practitioners. No pretense.
Crucial for guidance, I imagine. Fourth?
Vigorous effort. Exerting strong, unwavering energy to abandon unwholesome states and cultivate wholesome ones. Really putting in the work.
Not being lazy, essentially. And the 5th factor?
Wisdom. possessing penetrative insight into the nature of existence, understanding things as they truly are, which ultimately leads to the destruction of suffering.
Faith, health, honesty, effort, wisdom. Got it. And having these speeds things up.
Dramatically, according to Bhagava. Here's the really astonishing part. He states that a bhikkhu possessing these 5 factors, guided by him, could attain liberation.
How quickly?
He starts with 7 years, then 6 years, 5, 4, 3, 2, down to 1 year.
Wow, 1 year. That's already fast.
But he keeps going. 7 months, 6, down to 1 month, and half a month.
Half a month, seriously.
And then the most immediate possibility. If instructed in the evening, they would attain special knowledge by morning. If instructed in the morning, by evening.
Within a single day. That's incredible.
The potential for immediate, profound change is right there, given the right conditions and the right guide.
No wonder Prince Bodhi exclaimed what he did.
Exactly. He cries out, "Oh, the Buddha! Oh, the Dhamma! Oh, the well-proclaimed Dhamma!" It just underscores the sheer potential when those factors align.
It emphasizes that with the right conditions, liberation isn't just some distant dream, but potentially very rapid.
Right. It hinges on those 5 factors.
So this deep dive, this whole conversation between the prince and the Buddha, it concludes with something quite personal from the prince, doesn't it?
It does, a beautiful revelation. His attendant, Sannikaputta, actually challenges him slightly.
How so?
He points out that despite all these awe-filled exclamations, "Oh, the Buddha! Oh, the Dhamma!" the prince hasn't actually formally taken refuge yet in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the community.
The traditional declaration.
Yes. But Prince Bodhi refutes this. He shares this really touching story about his lifelong connection.
He says his mother declared refuge for him.
While he was still in her womb. Can you imagine?
Wow. And then again as a baby.
Yes, his wet nurse presented him to Bhagava when he was an infant and declared refuge for him then, too. His connection was established long before conscious choice.
So his devotion runs deep.
Very deep. And then right there, he declares it himself for the 3rd time. From this day forward, as a lay follower, I go for refuge for life.
It's such a powerful ending to their conversation. It shows this profound, long-standing commitment that really spanned his entire existence.
What a journey we've followed, eh? Through Bhagava's own rigorous, sometimes painful search for truth.
From embracing extreme asceticism, then letting it go.
To rediscovering that balanced path of meditation, the jhanas, and finally reaching that profound awakening.
And even that initial hesitation to teach, overcome by compassion.
You've heard about the intense physical trials, the huge mental breakthroughs, and that ultimate clarity that led him to teach the 5 bhikkhus.
And crucially, you've also learned about those 5 essential qualities: faith, health, honesty, vigorous effort, and wisdom.
The very factors that Bhagava himself said can accelerate anyone's journey toward deep understanding and liberation.
This deep dive really reveals that true freedom, perhaps, isn't found in those extremes. Not extreme pleasure, nor extreme suffering.
But in a middle path. A path cultivated through wisdom, sustained effort, and sincerity. It's a testament to, well, purposeful striving.
So the final thought for you listening today, what does this mean for you? How might applying these factors of striving, maybe even just focusing on one in your own quest for knowledge or well-being, transform your daily life?
And perhaps consider this. How might having just little dust in your eyes, as Brahmā Sahampati put it, not be a hindrance, but paradoxically your greatest opportunity for profound insight?